All right, all right. We're back. We're back. It's PMC. We're talking about Mew today. Justin, say what's up.
Wouldn't you know it? Another psychic type.
Another psychic mythical type of all things. You think they're going to put any more in this game?
Oh my goodness. I don't want any more mythic. I'm personally, if you're to rub that magic lamp and have Robin Williams Genie come out and give me a wish, I'd want more, quote unquote, regular Pokemon.
Yeah.
Than mythicals. Like, there's over 1,000 Pokemon in the universe right now before Gen 9, and there's quite a few that I want to see touched on, especially, Rillaboom and Sceptile and Infernape. So let's go with those before. But if you are going to do mythicals, I'd have to go with Jirachi. Let's go home, Rep.
Yep, that's a great pick. So, guys, before we dive into it, just want to remind you, we do have a podcast. We dropped an episode on Friday. We will link that in the description below. You can watch that on YouTube, or you can listen on Spotify. So anyway, Justin, we are talking about Mew. Let's talk a little bit, as we talk about Mew, let's talk about the phases you're going to go through as you play Mew. So first and foremost, probably not the best jungler, but it could work. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's better off in lane just because of the supportive roles that it has that you can't get away from. It's just built to be with a partner. And on top of that, it's not going to clear very well, especially with the auto attacks aren't that good and the boosted auto takes forever. It's just not going to be a fast or efficient clear. Yes, you can do it, but it's like, why?
Yeah, I don't think you get the same kind of benefits out of running Jungle Mew that you would out of a character that really needs it, like a Garchomp or even something like a Delphox or an Eevee. Like, those are going to scale and be more impactful in that jungle. So I think lane is really the place to be with Mew. And we'll talk a little bit about the moves. Mew has 6 moves. We're going to talk about each move. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to talk more about what part of the laning phase I think you should be picking what moves.
Exactly, because we did already cover the whole kit in 2 different videos, one on Spotify and one here on YouTube. So definitely go check those out if you want to know what Mew's moveset and kit is all about in detail. We go through every little nook and cranny. But essentially, Zero has had his hands on it. We've played multiple games in standard and ranked, and he's tried a bunch of different builds, and I've tried them, and we've definitely got some play testing in. About 25 games or so total between the two of us. And, this is just sort of what we think of the character in terms of almost like max efficiency in terms of how to be a good offensive support role.
Yeah. So the first thing, when I take it in a laning phase, I've been taking Electro Ball early. I really, really like Electro Ball because I think when you get your timing right,
So that's until level 5, right?
Yep.
That's important to know. Whatever moves you pick out the gate, that's what you have till level. That's your first move swap.
Good point. So I like to take Electro Ball. I know a lot of people like to take Solar Beam just because it's big, chunky damage, but the Secure is a lot easier with Electro Ball. Yep, there's a little less lag. It auto targets. It's got execution damage, so you can secure things faster from distance, and you can also secure KOs that way too. So I definitely like Electro Ball because it clicks really well early on in the game. So that's what I like to take for my offensive move early, and then for my other move, I like coaching the best. What do you think?
Yeah, first from level 1 to 5, you're saying? Yeah, I definitely think that coaching is my favorite. Again, I agree with everything you said. I like Solar Beam and Light Screen out the gate early. We definitely tried it multiple games each person. But the fact of the matter is that you have to have a lane partner that's built for that type of lag and cooldown.
Yeah. And Electro Ball just... It secures better. It's easier to use and it secures better. And early on, you're trying to suffocate your opponents out of experience. Like, that's the name of the entire game right there.
And the Electro Ball will follow them through dashes and flashes. So it helps secure kills early, much like a Pikachu will. Everybody that's played with Pikachu knows how good that is. Getting a double tap on coaching because you'll do the first one on, if I'm your lane partner, you'll hit me with coaching. I haven't been coaching yet, so it goes off instant cooldown. So you can coaching me a second time before it will go on cooldown at all. And even when it does, it's only like 6 seconds. So coaching's really strong early to have those like duels, especially with somebody that has, that lanes the way I like to, which is with potion.
Yeah, because I laned with you. You played Blastoise, so when you were Squirtle or War Turtle, coaching a Squirtle or War Turtle was really beneficial for our lane. That is something that you definitely want to take advantage of.
Strong boosted autos.
I think you want to take it. Like, agility is not bad. Okay, let's just say that agility is not bad. I do think that you can take agility. You can take agility when you've got a partner, like a laning partner, who maybe. I mean, you wouldn't know if they're aggressive, but maybe it's kind of like a squishy character, and you can't expect them to kind of stick around and keep you alive. So you need that little bit of mobility to kind of get yourself back to the base, back to safety, back to berries.
Yeah, you got to play them more selfish.
That is when I think agility is good. So, moving on, as the laning phase kind of progresses, you're getting some experience. You got your first move reset. I think this is the point where you grab that solar beam and the light screen. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, level 5 is usually when I go all in, all ham, put all my chips in the center, light screen, solar beam, and you just start blowing people up.
Exactly.
Important mechanical note, Zero. You want to talk about the combo?
Yeah,
the order of operation between those two moves? There's a little trick here to get off a little bit more efficiency.
So because solar beam has such a big starting lag, you can actually hit the solar beam and then put the light screen up after the fact, and you will still get the buff in time. So you hit that solar beam button, and then you pop that light screen right after. It'll pop right in front of it, and then you're kind of doing both things at once almost, and still getting the same result.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but this is what we talk about when experienced players talk about the micro decisions or micro mechanics.
Yeah,
this is one of those things. It's the tiniest thing, but it's those little things that might be the difference between living or dying.
Yeah, the long range poke, the massive damage potential. They did make it harder for you to snipe objectives by removing their life bars when you're not exactly in that area, which
it's when allies are within the range. You have to have an ally that's up there in the grill of like an Aleki, or you have to have an ally that's in the pit at Rayquaza for you to actually be able to see your team be able to see their HP bar.
That's a good point. So it's harder for Solar Beam players, whether that be Venusaur or Mew, to just go up and snipe an objective.
That's also why it's important to have balanced team comps now and actually have a defender or two on your team, because you need somebody that gets up in there to be able to even see the HP bar of the objective.
Exactly. So Solar Beam does have massive starting lag. However, it's a good way to chunk down opponents and let your
especially through the light screen, right?
Yep. It's a good way to get your backline assassins in to get KOs. Massive damage potential.
That's the thing about Mew, is that he has the same move as Venusaur, but he's got lights. He's got his own version of light screen, so that makes this Solar Beam is actually the strongest of the two.
Yeah,
this is a better Solar Beam. So for somebody like you, Venusaur main, this is perfect transition.
I think you will be hanging on to light screen and Solar Beam for most of the game. I could see situations where you might switch to coaching again, depending on your team composition. But yeah, I think let's talk about
agility's good for if you're getting chased and you need to get away. But other than that, you're not really going to slot to that too often.
No, especially if you take eject button, you won't need agility nearly as much.
No.
So we'll talk about the last move, which we think is definitely the weakest as far as Mew's kit goes, and that is Surf. I think the only time you really should take Surf is if it's late game. Maybe you don't have as many points to drop as your partners, and you're going for that.
You try to do a late game kamikaze for your team.
Exactly. You put your body on the line. You just surf some opponents off the goal so your partners can score some goals. I think that's kind of the only time you take Surf. Maybe there's room to take it early game to kind of push some objectives, like some mutual farm, push that your way. Or push some opponents off of it. I think those are really the only times you take Surf, and I don't think a mid game it's really something that you should be taking, because Mew is so squishy, right?
He's so fragile, so it's just not worth throwing your body in there. That's one of the reasons why we're talking so heavily about light screen over coaching as well, because coaching, again, you jump to the allied, then shield them. So like it throws you into the fray, and if you're not careful, you'll just get popped.
Exactly. So let's talk about Mew as it stands compared to other Pokemon on the roster. So it's an attacker class Pokemon. Justin, I want to know, what do you think? Where do you think Mew stacks up against other attackers?
I think it should have been a supporter class. The fact that no matter what you do, you're always going to have one offensive move and one supportive move. Like you can't do a combo in this character. Even though it has 6 moves and the move reset, there's no combination where you have 2 offensive triggers.
Yes. Yep. You make a good point.
So to me, that sounds exactly like Eldegoss.
Yep. Just with a lot more like beefy attacks, you know?
Exactly. But again, offensive support. So for me, that's how I think about the character. That's how we in the PMC kind of think about the character in terms of like our ranked climbing and the roster as it stands.
Yeah.
I like. She's really good.
I think
really good at what she does. And what she does is, give some support to the team while also doing big chunky damage.
Yeah, and the thing though with the chunky damage is it's so hard. I feel like it's not worth the effort to use this character as like a main carry. Like Glaceon's gonna outperform this Pokemon. Espeon, Delphox, Alolan Ninetales. There's so many Dragonite. Like there's so many Pokemon that you could put your time into. Venusaur, that's a great one. Like there's so many attacker class Pokemon that are gonna get the damage numbers and do the meaningful damage. And I don't think Mew is gonna compete. What do you think?
Yeah, his auto attacks aren't great. His auto attack speed isn't great. His boosted auto is weird and it's got a long delay before, like animation time. I mean,
yeah,
and it doesn't go on the every third auto attack. It's on a timer.
Sometimes it'll just target a wild Pokemon too. Like
it's a really good attack.
It is,
but it's not. It's basically Mew feels like everything is just on this long cooldown and delay. So like I got my big burst, and now I'm just waiting until my next cooldowns are up and I can do it again.
Okay, so
whereas somebody like Venusaur, yeah, I'm on cooldown, but I still have my Vine Whip every third auto.
Yeah, which does massive damage, and Mew, it takes a while to get that massive damage from the boosted auto. Exactly.
That's one thing that I noted was different, is that he has good burst, but he doesn't have good DPS.
Right. That's a great point.
He doesn't have the consistent damage. He's got good chunky burst damage, but he doesn't have the consistency.
Yeah. So we got a couple more minutes here. I got to ask you one more thing. So how good do you think Mew is? Like you can put it on a tier, or you can say it's broken, or you can say that
great.
You think it's really good, or what do you think?
If we're talking in the attacker class, I think he's solid 7 out of 10. He's above average, but he's not the best. But if we're talking where you actually try to play him the true way, which is this offensive support role, where you're like a supporter, like an Eldegoss, I think a good Mew is probably a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Because there's just so much pressure early that you can apply. You don't have to evolve, so he can go either bottom or top and fit perfectly. He's not going to be stealing experience, is what I mean, from somebody else. He's got so many options to secure either farm or KOs early, like we talked about, regardless of which build you go. And then just having a support that's like, all right, I'm doing all the support roles, but then I'm also, boom, big giant damage hole in your ship.
Yeah.
Like, we can also have an attacker. So you could have a Mew and a Venusaur on the same team.
So
that's where my head's going. Is like, all right, well, yeah, we're double beaming now. Because then the best thing about Mew, in my opinion, is his ultimate.
Yes.
Team-wide invisibility. It's so impactful. We've all had that happen where we were going up a Greninja that used smoke screen, and we're in the little thing, it's like, oh, I can't see.
Just throwing your moves out at random.
Yeah. Team wide.
Yep.
Invisibility. Yes, it's movement speed. Yes, it's damage. Yes, it's the usual unite buffs. But it's the fact that it's invisibility.
Right.
So we can then re-engage. It's a good re-engage tool.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about Mew. I think maybe if I'm being perfectly honest, maybe a 9 out of 10. But yeah, either 9 or 10 if it's done well in the support role.
So, as someone who plays attacker mains, has dabbled, I play a little bit of support, you know that. I found Mew slightly underwhelming. As an attacker,
Laggy, right?
As an attacker, not my cup of tea. There's a lot of other options that I think are better. I kind of touched on that already. Don't really need to elaborate on that. As a damage carry, I don't think this is really the best option or really worth putting your time into.
Well, like you said, Espeon has more burst at level 4.
And lower cooldowns.
Lower cooldowns, lower animation times, faster missile speed, everything.
And then as a supporter, it's good, but pretty much every supporter in the game does its job better outside of the invisibility ultimate.
Well, and that's the thing is this is one of our first true. That's why I've always been clear of this video to say it the way that I said it is offensive support.
Yeah, it's a hybrid for sure.
This is a different class in Unite that we've ever seen.
Yeah,
our support so far are either tank support or Eldegoss.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only options we have so far. So the Unite creators have not even begun to tap into the possibilities of a supporter in a MOBA is what I'm saying. From a league background is what I'm saying. There's so many options that they have not even tapped into yet.
I just don't see this character supporting your team in a way that's more meaningful than Blissey or Hoopa. And I think that's a problem for the character in general. I think the character is very good. But for me personally, I did not find the character to be this S-tier menace that needs to be auto-banned. I thought I would.
I don't think it's an auto-ban. I think it's one of those things where if you have somebody that like Hoopa, it's a good shout. If you have somebody that really put the time in and became a true master of Mew, it'll be a menace to play against.
Yeah. Yep. And we're early game, so maybe that meta just hasn't developed
high
yet.
skill cap, high ceiling.
Yes.
Of potential.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know. So I think that's going to wrap up our thoughts for Mew, guys. Justin, I think that's going to do it, man. Let's go play some Unite, man.
Yeah, super fun. Can't wait. We've got 48 hours here in Michigan until the Doge drops. Meep, meep.
Meep, meep. All right, we will have some Dodrio content for you guys probably this week. What do you think, bud?
Yeah, just depending on how the week goes and everything. It should be either Friday or Saturday this week. We should have a video up. Debut gameplay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. We love you guys. We will catch you on the next one. Until then, I've been Zero.
And I'm Justin.
Council's adjourned.